correct?
Yes.
And then we also have an Orthodox Jewish rabbi. And the world thought the two can't sit together.
Sit together. We love each other.
We love each other, truly.
Yeah.
Wow.
We wait before the yes.
Yeah.
See, right now, someone's tuning in, and they've been watching Fox News, and they're watching all the other Hannity's and all the other mainstream pundits. They're like, it's a Muslim-Jewish thing, but they're watching now. They're getting a totally different story.
Yes. Yeah. Well, with the help of the Almighty, first I pray to the Almighty to bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may be worthy of conveying His message, and so sanctify His name, and inshallah bring peace to the world. What you're saying, this is so much the Nakba, this colossal, this catastrophe. It has so many facets, but of course the slaughter, and as our distinguished Imam is going to talk, we can't, there's no words now to talk. Sometimes we say in one of the verses of the Torah that sometimes silence is because there's no words to describe what is happening in Gaza, and the Imam personally has it's beyond words. Over 30 relatives were just murdered in Gaza. There's no words to describe this, but this is part of this. I call it like links in a long chain of this horrid Nakba. It's predicated. It's Zionist on the narrative that it's like you were saying, a religious conflict, when everybody who's from the Arab Muslim community or from the Jewish community will talk about how we lived in total harmony and peace for literally for hundreds of years. We lived, and not only we lived for hundreds of years in peace, but we were saved by the Muslim community.
Wow, so we're like remaking history. That's history, and we're making history here today. So you have the same thing here. You have Orthodox, a rabbi.
Yeah.
This is a rabbi in the picture, is it?
Well, I don't know who this person was. I just got a picture of a God-fearing Jew.
It's a Jew and a Muslim together, and they're holding hands, just like you guys were. Wow, that's amazing.
This is
so this is before. This is in Palestine before 1948.
Right, and not only that, but we have to remember that throughout our history, the Jewish people, unfortunately, Christianity had an idea that they have to convert, or else people to Christianity, or else you're going to burn in hell. And they tried to. They made the Inquisition, where they tortured people to convert out of the religion, and so the Jewish people had to run away. Many were murdered, but and also they were banned from the lands from Portugal and Spain, and where did they go? It was the Muslim lands that took in the Jews throughout this history. Although we have a distinctly different religion, but we believe in one God, and there was never an impediment to coexistence, even though we have distinctly different, and there was no human rights groups to protect. We simply were embraced, given a safe haven, and we flourished. We flourished in their lands. We put out our greatest Torah authorities, our greatest rabbis, and for hundreds of years our communities grew and grew. And whether you go through all the Arab and Muslim lands, whether it's Iran, whether it's Iraq, whether it's Egypt, Lebanon, Morocco, Tunisia, Turkey, wherever you would, and Palestine. So Palestine has a special story that when there was Jews were thrown out from Palestine hundreds of years ago, and it was the Suleiman. They took the Jews back in, so we were taken in by the Muslims, and we lived there and flourished. And so they had three distinctive communities. You had the Muslim, and then the Christian. Muslim was the largest, and the Christian was the second, and then you had the Jewish community. Yes. And with the different religions, but they lived together in the same courtyards, babysat each other's children. In fact,
babysat each other's children.
In fact, I recorded it just yesterday. I was at an AMP conference, and a person, an older gentleman, came over to me, and he spoke about how his father, that when they used to go doing business or whatever, he wasn't. The Jewish neighbor would take their children and his jewelry to protect it because he didn't want to leave it alone, and he would take it over to his father's house, to this Arab Muslim's father's house, and they would leave them there and leave it there. And so this is I could tell you so many beautiful anecdotes of both the Jews help the Muslim neighbors and the Muslims help the Jews, like it should be,
like it should
natural,
be, absolutely,
like,
yes.
Question,
humanity,
but,
that's how it should be, yes.
But and because God says that we have to do kindness, we have to emulate God as compassionate, and these people live together. God-fearing people live together. So that's the basic. So it's really tragic when people today, when they see a Muslim and a Jew greeting each other, they say, wow, it's like a surprise. That is one of the core part of the catastrophe of the Nakba.
So this is historically documented, it's known, you're repeating the history. I mean, this is known amongst learned people. Unfortunately, many people don't read today and don't study history, but now, for over 1,000 years, Jews and Muslims lived together in a relative peace.
Certainly.
And Jews fled persecution from the Crusades, from the Inquisitions to Muslim lands, and there wasn't this hostility towards Jews.
On the contrary, like I say, it was a case where the Muslims basically gave the Jews their lives back. They were able to exist, to flourish, and have communities, and so it's like it's part of the tragedy. Like it's and we have, with God's help, we have to talk about why. Why does Zionism insist on portraying like there's a religious conflict? What's happening here? What's their issue? What's their goal? We could talk about that. Yeah.
Sheh, what do you think? We know this history, but it's different when it's coming from a rabbi, an Orthodox rabbi who's talking about this, and we're seeing what the media is pushing. They're creating this division they're trying to make it like it's a Muslim-Jewish thing, and